Okay, question one.
Question one.
What made you get into politics?
I got into politics because of a lifelong interest in that area. I developed an interest in politics as a very young kid, probably about your age actually. And my earliest recollection of being aware of what politics was when I was effectively watching television and saw two commercials back to back during a federal election, and the Prime Minister was bashing the Leader of the Opposition, and the Leader of the Opposition was bashing the Prime Minister, who was Pierre Trudeau in those days. And my dad came into the room, and I asked him a question about the ads, and I said, "These people are awfully unkind to each other." And he says, "Yeah, politics can be a nasty business." And I remember that conversation, and that got my curiosity going just a little bit. And I fed the curiosity through reading newspapers, which I did quite easily because I was a newspaper boy. And so to pass the time and to take my mind off the very cold weather, as it was in Winnipeg in those days, I would just read the front sections of the newspapers every day, and I just get a feel for it. And it was just something I took an interest in. And that manifested itself into getting involved in student government, running for student council president at the various levels of school and at university as well. And that just kind of kept it on going. So it's kind of been a lifelong interest, and I knew from a very young age that this is a job I'd love to have the opportunity to do one day.
That's cool. Alright, number two. What courses did you take in university?
In university, I studied business management. So I did an honors degree in business, and I did a double major with marketing and management information systems.
Okay. Number three.
Number three.
Who was your biggest influence growing up?
There's no question that the biggest influence growing up was my mom and dad. They, beyond establishing a set of values and principles and disciplines, work ethic, attitude, all those types of really, really important things that define who you are, I owe all of that to my mom and dad. That was no question that is an enormous part of who I am. But also, frankly, they made a series of sacrifices one after the other from a very young age.
Oh.
That's right, and as your parents are.
Yeah.
And if that's what moms and dads kind of do, and mine certainly did that, and that allowed me to kind of do a lot of the stuff that to this day I still give them a lot of credit for that.
All right. What do you like to do in your free time?
Well, I don't get a whole lot of free time in this job, but the little time that I get is almost completely devoted to my kids, to my family. This is a job where I can work 7 days a week. I mean, today's a Sunday. We're doing this interview on a Sunday, and I had some political events this morning. And that's just the nature of it. There was a walk for multiple sclerosis earlier this morning, and I was up and early and out of the house before anyone else was up. And that's just the nature of the job. But when I'm not doing this job, it's really looking into the interests of my children, whether that's swimming, fishing, dance, hockey, soccer, whatever the interest is. A lot of music. We spend a lot of time together with music in our family, and so we spend our time that way. And one of our favorite things is to all sit together and watch a hockey game, or watch a movie. We'll all gather and with a couple of big bowls of popcorn, and we love movies, and that's a big family event for us as well. When I'm not doing that, I like to play piano. That's my little escape.
Sounds nice.
It is. It's fun.
What was your best, favorite, or most fun time being a politician?
Oh, there's no question about that one. It would have to be the Olympic Games. Being involved right at the very center of the activity around the 2010 Olympic and Paralympic Games was a lifetime memory for me. I was responsible at that point in time. I was Minister of Economic Development, and my job involved running the International Business Hosting Program. That meant we did about 120 events in 14 days. It worked out to, I was going to 6 or 7 every single day. And we had 15, oh yeah, it was a long day, 6 in the morning till midnight, and about 15,000 people, 3,000 companies involved from dozens of countries. And that was a magical experience to be right down in Robson Square where all the fireworks were going every night, and looking down onto the Robson Square at night and seeing the hundreds of thousands of people that were just there being positive. I mean, it was an infectious attitude. I mean, you couldn't help but going home with a big smile on your face every night. It was magic, just pure magic.
Yeah. What's it like to have 3 kids and work a lot of the time?
That is the toughest part of this job. That is the most punishing element. It's the schedule. My family has given up an awful lot for me to be able to do this job. It's probably helped me to be a lot more disciplined. I don't have a lot of little distractions now that a lot of people have, that I used to have, and when I was running companies and I was involved in business, I would be interested in a lot of little things. I can't do that anymore. I have my job, I have my kids, I must stay focused in that area, and I wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for my wife, who's remarkably understanding and who bends over backwards to allow me to do this job, and frankly, friends and neighbors. Dozens of them who do a long list of little things which, when all added up, make a big difference. You know, your dad, for example, cuts the front lawn. That makes a huge difference for me. It's one less thing I need to think about. Other neighbors on the street pick up the kids after school on those days when Mrs. Black's working and I can't be home. And the list goes on and on and on. There's all kinds of little things that literally dozens of people in our community chip in just a little bit to allow me to do this job, because we don't have any family in North America, so, because my mom and dad moved here as newlyweds, so we don't have a big family network. I have a sister in Winnipeg and a brother on the island, and that's it. So we were lucky that we can rely on that many people, and that's what this job has taught me, is how great those friends are.
Yep. What's your favorite part of your job?
Probably talking, two areas: talking to constituents, talking to the people who elected you, finding out what's bothering them, finding out what we're doing well, what we could be doing better, trying to help them solve problems, and within that, I would include in that talking to schools. I love going into the schools. It's to talk to classrooms, whether it's elementary, middle school, or secondary level. Engaging the students is a fantastic exercise, because you get great questions and the students care about the answers, and it gives me a chance to kind of explain in plain English what my job is. So I love that part of the job. It's, I think, a very important part of it. And then the second part of the job that I think is great is when I get to tackle projects that make a meaningful difference for people, that if I didn't have an involvement would not have happened. I think of the 2 new middle schools in Port Moody. That was I was neck deep involved in that project. It wouldn't have happened if I hadn't been involved to get us those 2 new schools that are now being built. I think of the East Road in Anmore. I think of the water system in Belcarra, and perhaps the thing that I'll take with me forever was when I worked to get the booster seat laws changed a couple of years ago. That was huge, and those are 22-year-old laws that needed to be changed, and I was able to make a difference in that area, and it was a very important thing to have done, and I'll always be very proud of that effort.
Question 6.
Question 6.
Wait, no. Question 8, sorry.
Okay, question 8.
What's your least favorite part of your job?
My time away from home. From basically Valentine's Day to the beginning of June, I'm not home from Sunday to Thursday. And that is really tough on everybody. It's tough on the schedule. It's one less parent in our house that entire time for 3 kids. And when I was first elected, that was 3 kids under the age of 5. So that is without question the toughest part at a personal level. At a business level, the toughest part of the job is trying to stay focused on what the issues are and not getting drawn into the drama and the theater. I mean, politics is a game where people like to get really animated and emotional about their point of view, and peeling all that back and focusing in on what are the real issues here and what matters to people, and what's the guidance I'm getting from my community in terms of how they want me to deal with an issue. That's the toughest part, because there's a lot of what I call noise around it, and then you throw the media in on top of that, who have a role to play in communicating to the public, but they won't always necessarily communicate what I believe to be the facts or what I believe to be the context, and so that adds an extra layer of complexity in there too. That can take its toll on you as well. So those parts I don't like so much, but they're a part of the job, and you got to take the good or the bad.
All right. Question 9.
Question 9.
There. If you could do anything in the world, what would it be?
This job. Yeah, this job. I mean, despite all the punishing parts of the lifestyle, I consider it a privilege to have this job. And the day I stop thinking that is the day I should stop doing the job. You don't do this job for the money. You don't do this job for the lifestyle. You do it because you think the work is really important. And I honestly, sincerely think that the work that gets done is worth the sacrifice that gets made by all the people involved. And I believe that very, very sincerely, and I feel very lucky to be able to do this job every day.
Okay, last question.
Last question.
What's your favorite thing to do with your kids?
Oh, that depends on the kid. All of our children, like most parents, all of our children are very, very different. Thomas loves fishing. Thomas loves karate. He's very good at the piano, and I love to sit and play piano with him, or watch him play, or listen to him play. My middle son is a sports fanatic. Any sport, pick one, and he's interested in it. And yeah, well, you know, tennis is the one thing he has. I'm a tennis player. He hasn't got into tennis quite as much yet, although his grandpa and his granny, when she was alive, sent him to tennis camp in the summer because they're tennis players. But no, Jordy likes his sports. He's big into hockey. He's a hockey fanatic, huge Canucks fan. And then my daughter's into dance and music and those types of things. But I think if we're together, he's probably watching a movie.
Yeah.
A couple big bowls of popcorn sitting right where we're sitting right now, and turning up the stereo nice and loud, and just getting lost in a really good Harry Potter movie or whatever it is that's going. And we love to laugh together, and probably movies are one of the ways we get to do that.
All right. Well, thank you for the interview.
You're very welcome. Good luck.
It was very fun.
Okay.